Beyonce, Bey, Queen Bee, Sasha Fierce, whatever you want to call her, there's no denying that Beyonce Knowles Carter is a living legend. From pop star to film star, there's nothing stopping Beyonce. The singer, songwriter, actress, record producer, and designer has sold over 160 million records, won 28 Grammys, starred in 8 movies including the Lion King remake, launched 2 fashion lines, and kept us guessing along the way about what she will do next. Beyonce first rose to fame in the 1990s as a member of the R&B girl group Destiny's Child, whose 4 albums and hits including Bills Bills Bills, Survivor, Independent Woman, and Bootylicious saw them become one of the best-selling girl groups in history. Beyonce was clearly the leader of the group and wrote its songs for Destiny's Child, such as the saucy Bootylicious. Eventually, the group parted ways to pursue individual projects. Beyonce used her songwriting talents to pen her first solo album, Dangerously in Love, back in 2003. Since then, Beyonce has gone solo, releasing a massive 6 studio albums, working with other incredible singers and starring in Hollywood blockbusters like the Oscar-winning movie Dreamgirls, alongside Jamie Foxx and Jennifer Hudson, and also the Pink Panther movie, which she complemented in her Check On It music video. However, the appeal of the star is no more, and that is one of the reasons why the industry is desperately searching for her replacement, which will never happen, might I say. Let's talk about the small and calculated things Beyonce practiced earlier in her solo career that won over the public. Beyonce in her prime focused on the aesthetics, mannerism, and her overall sex appeal. Throughout this video, you will see the many subtle idiosyncrasies that Beyonce would sport so effortlessly that made her so appealing. The detail is in the thread. No one will ever match that. It's not organic if it's forced, so blatantly at that. All this talk of a replacement is of waste. Beyonce was already loved from her time spent in Destiny's Child. She was the standout. But as a solo act, the superstar had the public crazy in love, and boy did they fall dangerously in love with her. Her tenacity and sex appeal after departing the group was cranked up like 10 notches. She had the ability to captivate her audience like no other. Her presence demanded all the attention she could get, and right before our eyes, she became the triple threat naughty girl. Be it the way she puts one foot in front of the other, or just the way she bites her curled lips, Beyonce had the ability to command her audience with just a gaze. She was always good at leaving music listeners with lingering thoughts and reevaluating their whole lives. She stayed on people's minds who could only wish Beyonce would fulfill their deepest fantasies. Her nonchalant sexual energy was not only natural, it was also calculated. Beyonce was able to seduce people with just a grin as she ran her hands through her hair, a smirk, and of course her voice. Her mannerisms were well thought out, but still genuine, and we must not forget that infamous habit of hers to use a fan while she's performing. Like, how much more sensual and seductive can you get? Well, we are talking about Beyonce. She will push her back in, hands on hips, and the crowd goes wild. And many others have tried to imitate this stance and get branded the next Beyonce. The stand, might I say, is legendary. When she released the pop ballad Irreplaceable, which became her second album's most successful single, her direction of dominance became clear. She had the world's attention, like everyone was singing that song, literally. In the intro for the Irreplaceable video, an annoyed Beyonce could be seen filing her nails. The sounds, the facial expressions, the body language, it all came together so beautifully and served its purpose for the video, even if the viewer didn't realize it. One word: details. And it's through the theatrics like these that she embellished in the prime of her solo career that maximized the massive appeal she was able to garner. I would notice a millisecond of a look, a sound, a turn, just knowing it was an intentional placement. It's the bossy, yet warm, flashy, yet classical energy she exuded that hypnotized the masses. The control she had over her body and her voice was just a cherry on top. It is my belief that this is also why she decided to stop doing interviews, because this played into the strategy of getting fans attached to her aesthetics as an artist through her videos and performances. That is Beyonce. Beyonce's first 4 albums are what made her the staple she is today. At this point, she was solidified, and with the ever-changing landscape in the music industry, she started to stray away from the Beyonce we knew as an artist. The Beyonce that is most loved when it comes to her as an artist is gone. That persona is now a nostalgic moment in time. We miss the old Beyonce. Bring back the old Beyonce. You hear that a lot these days, especially on social media. Beyonce went full speed ahead and never looked back, incorporating trendier pop and hip-hop sounds into her music. It was evident that the OG Beyonce that we fell dangerously, crazy, and drunk in love with was not coming back. To Beyonce's benefit though, the love her fans have for her stays on top, and she will be supported regardless. As an older artist, I can only imagine the pressures of adapting to newer trends just to fit the demand of music listeners in the streaming era. As she makes different transitions in both her personal and professional life, Beyonce has made it a priority to spend more time being a wife and a mother to her 3 children. No matter what she's doing in her career, she's still Beyonce, and she can never be undone. People are fearful of the void that Beyonce will leave in her wake when she eventually retires from music. That explains people's desperation for finding the quote-unquote next Beyonce. People placing these expectations on younger artists who are not on Beyonce's level will just not end well. The first issue with this is that unlike these new artists, Beyonce was given the opportunity to actually become the Beyonce we know today. What do I mean by this? Beyonce got the chance to come into her own as an entertainer. Whenever people are scrambling to replace something valuable, they will forever be stuck comparing the new to that of which they have lost, and 99% of the time, nothing will ever be good enough, and in this case, no one will ever be able to fill Beyonce's shoes. It pays to create a name for oneself as an artist. Beyonce mastered this, and she has earned her identity as one of the greatest entertainers to ever live. It should be normal to accept that all entertainers will enjoy a prime, but then there's also an inevitable decline. And that's okay. That should never be used to dictate their legacy. Following her debut as a solo act, Normani was dubbed the next Beyonce, after fans picked up on what they're calling Beyonce-isms in her performances. While this should be an honor, it should never be embellished too much by the artist to only exist in the shadow of another, and that is what is happening to Beyonce's protege, Chloe Bailey. If as an artist everything you do, all you hear is Beyonce, 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 you are doing something wrong. To stand out, you have to be understanding of the fact that originality, uniqueness, and newness is necessary as an artist. Be organic, not manufactured. The biggest takeaway from Beyonce should be her discipline that made her who she is today. There will only ever be one Beyonce, and that should be okay. Create a lane for yourself. There is just so many things that made Beyonce who she is and who she was in her prime, and that will just not be repeated in this decade of music. And just so you're reminded, Beyonce is the only person who has a compliment for her name.
You are Beyonce.
Thank you.
And
So those are my thoughts on that. But I would like to hear your thoughts as well. Do you think Beyonce has lost her appeal? And also, do you think that she can be replaced? I am Publius. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.